Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, welcome back with me. I am Nur Afifah. I am from Economic Education Program in Faculty of Economy Padang State University. So here we will discuss about economic development. The first we will discuss about economic development from the first material until the last material. The first material is about economic development. In economic development, there is increasing national income, poverty reduction, income redistribution. The first is increasing national income or economic growth. What is economic growth? Economic growth is an increase in national output or income hike real GDP. There are two main aspects of the economic growth. The first is aggregate demand or AD, consumer spending, investment level, government spending, export and import. And second is aggregate supply or AS. In the aggregate supply, there is productive capacity, the efficiency of economy, labor productivity. To increase economic growth, we need to see a rise in demand and or an increase in production capacity. And the second is poverty reduction. Poverty reduction or poverty elevation. Poverty reduction is a set of measures, both economy and humanitarian, that are intended to permanently lift people out of poverty. And the third is income redistribution. And the last is income redistribution. What is income redistribution? Income redistribution is an economic practice that is aimed at leveling the distribution of wealth or income in society through a direct or indirect transfer of income from the rich and the poor. And the purpose of income redistribution is to solve or at least minimize the gap between the poor and the rich. And the second material is income distribution. What is income distribution? Income distribution in economic is how a nation total GDP is distributed among its population income, and its distribution have always been a central concern of economic theory and economic policy. Okay, the next is what is income inequality? What is income inequality? Income inequality is an extreme disparity of income distribution with a high concentration of income inequality, usually in the hands of a small percentage of the population. Next is how do you spread poverty and income inequality? You can see in this picture from spread poverty and income inequality. In the poverty disease, you can see poverty can change even when the inequality does not move at all. Imagine a situation in which income for everyone in the population declined by 10%. Poverty would rise into a greater share of the population would now fall below the poverty line. However, inequality would be the same because everyone suffers the same spins proportional loss. Conversely, a general rise in the income levels over time will keep inequality the same but reduce poverty. The next is interpreting the Gini. Interpreting the Gini, you can see the index is based on the Gini coefficient at a statistical dispersion measurement that rank income distribution on the scale between 0 and 1. The measure has been in use since its development by Italian statistician Corrado Gini in 1921. It can be used to measure the inequality of any distribution, but is commonly associated with wealth. And last is a Laurent curve. So in the Laurent curve, the data on income inequality can be present in various ways. For example, you can draw a bar graph. You can draw a bar graph that shows the share of income going to each fifth of the income distribution. In the figure 3, present an alternative ways of showing inequality data in what is called the Laurent curve. So, the Laurent curve shows the cumulative share of the population on the horizontal axis and cumulative percentage of total income received on the vertical axis. And such material is economic performance and development. In the economic performance and development there is Human Development Index or HDI. What is Human Development Index? Human Development Index is a statistical tool used to measure a country's overall achievement in its social and economic dimensions. And the Economic Development Index, a fuller picture of a country level of human development, requires analysis of other indicators and information presented in the statistical annex of the report. You can see in this picture from Human Development Index. And the next is income inequality and economic growth. What is economic growth? Economic growth means an increase in national income. But does economic growth actually help to reduce relative poverty and income inequality? Or can economic growth exacerbate existing income inequalities? The question is, can economic growth exacerbate existing income inequalities? There are two types of poverty. The first is relative poverty. What is relative poverty? Relative poverty just means income is a certain percentage less than the average income. For example, in the UK, relative poverty is divided as income 50% less the average income. Therefore, a rise in economic growth and average income will cause a change in the what constitutes relative poverty. And the next is absolute poverty. What is absolute poverty? Absolute poverty just means income below a certain level necessary to maintain a minimum standard of living. For example, enough money to buy the basic necessary of food, shelter, and health. And the next material, in the fourth material and fifth material. In the fourth material and fifth material is about poverty. What is poverty? You are know so many poverty in the world. Actually, exactly in Indonesian country. In Indonesian country, so many poverty. What is poverty? Poverty is a state or condition in which a person or community lack the financial resources and essential for a minimum standard of living. Each year, the Census Bureau update is poverty result statistic and the table below. So in the 2018 income threshold for those in poverty. Each column represents the number of people living in household under the age of 18. Next, you can see this is picture about population. We can see in this picture that the income level for property threshold increased for families with more children under the age of 18. So still young, but then poverty. The next material, number 6 material in economic development is population and migration. In this population and migration, population density measure of the total population relative to land size for arithmetic population density. And the migration is a change residence that is intended to be permanent. So the question is, what do people migrate? What do people migrate? Because forced migration. People migrate because forced migration and voluntary migration. Why forced migration? Human migration falls in which the move have to choice but the relocate. Which the move have no choice but to relocate. And second is voluntary migration. In the voluntary migration, human migration falls in which the movers respond to perceived opportunity, not force. The next material is the number 7. The 7th material is about population and development. In the population and development, there is population growth. What is population growth? Population growth is central process in ecology because there is no population that no growth. Continuously, we know the existence of population regulation. So, the population growth is the characteristics by change in the number of population over time. The next is birth restriction. Birth restriction. What is birth restriction? Birth restriction is an attempt by married couple to limit the number of children or space births apart. And the next material is number 9. In the number 9 material is about human resources, education and health in economic development. Education and health. Education and health are fundamental development because education and health is a prosperity, while the education is essential to achieving a satisfying and worthwhile life. So, education and health are fundamental development goals, both of which are important for shaping broader human capacities that lie at the core of the meaning of development. The next is improving health and education. It's an investment value for families to get out of the trap of the vicious cycle of the poverty. Health and education are closely related to economic development because health and development are the investment in the same individual. Better health capital and increased return on the investment in education because health is an important factor in the school attendance. Healthy children do better in the school or can learn more efficiently. Engaged in the school age children also increase the return on investment in education. And healthy individuals are better able to use education productively at all times of their life. And the better of education capital can increase the return on investment in health because the education capital can increase the return on investment in health because many health programs rely on a variety of skills that schools learn. Schools teach the basic of personal health and sanitation, and the education is needed to build it, training healthcare workers. By improving the productivity efficiency of investment in education can increase the return on investment in health, which increase life expectancy. So the conclusion from the Health and education is why the education sector is very important and a leading sector in the national development of a country, including for an autonomous region. First, educational outcomes have a major impact on improving the quality of human resources or HR, human resources in a region or countries. Knowledge, attitude, and skill in various fields of life, whether ideological, political, social, economic, and culture, are heavily depend on quality education outcome. Awareness of the importance of maintaining health, for example, is the result of education work. The next material is number 10. In the number 10 material is about the migration and urbanization dilemma. In the migration and urbanization dilemma, one of the most difficult development process dilemmas complex and sensitive. Example, a symptom of the internal population movement. Let's see the issues about migrant and urbanization dilemma. A large number of rural intercities that are increasingly popping up in Africa, Asia, and Latin America that is unprecedented in history. The world population in 2050 is estimated will achieve more than 9 billion, and dramatic population growth will be more likely to occur in various cities in developing countries. The United Nations has even predicted that for the first time of human history, the world will become more urban than rural by the years 2008. And the rise of urbanization in the sense of migration also cause loss both for village and for cities. In just 20 years increased by almost 50%. The rise of urbanization in the sense of migration also caused loss both for village and for cities. In just 20 years increased by almost 50%. On the contrary, half the village population is now become resident of the city. In 2005, the population of the city was 47.9%, while in 2025, the population of the city was predicted to increase to 68%. So, the increased urbanization made poverty concurrent in the city. But this happened because of the view of the village community that the city represented the best hope for getting out of poverty. The occurrence of urbanization migration or urbanization will not be a problem if the government of the destination cities of migration is able to create, educate, employment, and public facilities. But if the carrying capacity of the city as a public place is a critical level, the government strong for these policies need to intervene to reduce the adverse effect of urbanization. Excessive urbanization needs to be controlled so that it does not grow wealth and increase burden cities of migration. Does not grow wilder and increase burden cities of migration. The next is The role of the city in the regional development as follows. Is a location provides for the interest of the decentralizing local scale public service facilities so as to increase accessibility between village and cities, provides a wide variety of consumer goods, trade, personal service, and the expansion of the informal sector providing a conducive climate for the growth of manufacturing. Small industries that can function to serve local and regional markets. Service improvement which occur as the scale of the city increase city, the existing agro-processing and agriculture activities serve as a supply for the region and provide service for rural areas. Behind, creates conducive condition for the trade and market for agricultural products as well as increase agricultural productivity and region income, transportation and communication sector that connects small town with rural areas. With big cities and other areas can serve as a center for social trends. So the last, we will discuss about my article. In my article about investment in education and health. So the title is The Urgency of Investment in Education and Health to Support the Economic Development Activities and Economic Growth in the country. In my opinion about my article, based on the research that I have done throughout various resources of article discussion, economic growth and economic development. The main target of regional development is to create economic growth and equitable development. So, economic growth is one of the most important indicators in the economy, especially in analyze the result of economic development that has been carried out by a country or region. This is according to Sukwika 2018. The state will find it difficult to improve people's living standards without positive growth. And the economy is set to experience growth if the production of goods and services increase from years to years or the previous years. Thus, it can be said that economic growth can show the extent to which the activity of economy itself can generate additional income or community welfare in a certain period. Next, we will discuss about economic growth. What is economic growth? Economic growth is the description of the work of a regional government in the welfare of society. Economic growth will always be one of the counter in improving the welfare of the population of an area. Regional development as an integral part of national development is essential and effort to increase regional growth capacity so that they are able to run good governance. In this case, we know that one of the indicators commonly used in the looking at people with far in an increase in economic growth and even distribution of income through investment. Therefore, investment is needed to create the formation of quality human resources, such as investment in the education and health sector, because in the aspect of education and health are fundamental development goals in a region. In order to support the education and health aspect, a budget is needed. And next, we discuss about investment. In investment is one indicator of economic growth. The investment itself can be in the form of physical capital investment or human capital investment. Physical investment is all in the form of expenditure that create capital or increasing the stock of capital goods. The importance of the role of human capital in economic development is seen in a concert of various aspects, such as the government and the private sector allocating investment funds or regional expenditure to improve the quality of the human. Next, we already know that the investment allocated is useful for the benefit of human capital and the result cannot be seen in the short possible. So, do not surprise if in a government budget there is often a tug of war between investment in an economic infrastructure and investment in the human capital development sector. On the one hand, infrastructure investment spending is used to facilitate of economic growth. But on the other hand, this investment is needed to improve the quality of human resources, and the increasing improvement in human capital actually provides many positive benefits for economic growth from the availability of the quality workforce. And in this case, both private investment and the government spending in the public sector are needed for human development. But in development in the contract government and the local government, because so far local government development spending is still concentrated in the field of economic infrastructure and has not given special attention of the field of human development. More than this, all argues that investment can be starting for the success and sustainable of development in the future because it can absorb labor, so it can open up new job opportunities for the community, which in return will have an impact on increased people income. Research conducted by Aritonang on investment policy as part of national development condition include that one of the major shortcomings in Indonesia economic development process lies in the lack of infrastructure that support the process. The infrastructure is not only in the scope of economic overhead but also social overhead. According to Posuma, it's very difficult to accept the region to able to accommodate and manage income investment funds because in the term of facilities it is not possible. In addition, the infrastructure development needed also absorb large fund. So it is logical that funds owned by the regions are used more to provide these facilities. Each region must carry out various types of effort in carrying out economic development. Because basically economic development to increase the effort of the community as a whole in an effort to develop an economic activities and raise the level of welfare of community. In this case, development is a multidimensional process that involves major change in social structure, mental attitude, and national institutions, include accelerating economic growth. Reducing indicator in economic development is economic growth, equity, and the problem of poverty. Development, according to Chandra, some of the factors that cause economic inequality between regions are followed. First, different in the context of natural resources, different in geographical conditions, lack of smooth mobility of goods and services, regional economic concentration, and allocation of development funds between regions. Next is education and health. Education and health is fundamental development goals in the region. Health is an essence of the well-being, and education is essential to achieving the decent life. Education has an important role in shaping the capacity of a developing country in the absorb modern technology and to the development capacity for sustainable growth and development. This is mean from Todaro. And the next is government investment in health can be in the form of the budget allocation to finance the maintenance of physical and non-physical facilities in the health sector. The government itself with public facilities and infrastructure for the community so that people can enjoy easy access to service in the health sector. Thus, the case with which the community can access health service. Therefore, to communities' basic need for health can be fulfilled. And then the quality of the life of the community can further improve by optimizing government spending, especially expenditure for the benefit of health. Therefore, better quality in the health can be obtained, so that high growth will be more easily achieved in countries with the better health. Individual life longer on average. Thus, economically having the opportunity to earn higher income families with a longer life expectancy tend to invest their income in education and save. Thus, national saving and investment will increase and in turn will increase. According to Mill, economic development, there are two types of improvement, namely improvement in the level of community knowledge and improvement in the form of effort to remove obstacles to development such as custom, belief, and traditional thinking. Improvement in the level of education, advance in science, expansion of specialization, and improvement in the organization of production are important factors that can improve the quality and efficiency of production factor. So, as the great economic development, according to Mill, the education factor in carrying out two functions, namely enhancing of knowledge and skill of the community and enhancing general knowledge. Education can create approach previous and modern habits because education has a big role in the determining economic progress in a society. Improvement in health, education, and nutrition are not only capable of increasing capabilities but are also important means of the increased human capital. In the future, an increase in education in the general can also increase productivity and the ability to increase higher economy income both of now and in the future. So the conclusion in this case, a balance is needed between development expenditure for the education health sector and spending on other fields such as economy infrastructure, government expenditure that are not too important but have a direct impact on the community should be further reduced. Furthermore, to remember and consider government spending that has a positive impact on improvement in education and health. In achieve improvement in education and health will strengthen human development, which will ultimately support economic growth because the greater expenditure in a country will have an impact on increased adult literacy rate, which will ultimately increase in the improvement of human development itself. Okay, I mean like that, and that's all my explanation. And I apologize for my mistake from the first material until last material. And last I say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.